congratulations on Barrons Cove. I thought it was great.
Likewise, Will. Thank you.
And Garrett, this loved your performance. This is, of course, tough subject matter, and I'm also a dad myself. And do you feel that approaching Barrons Cove at this stage of your life, maybe really resonated with you and perhaps helped in delivering such a powerful performance?
Yeah, it did immensely. My son was two when we were shooting this, and what I mean, obviously it's a very hard subject matter, but it made it easy for me to ask questions of what would I do in this situation, which ultimately there were no bounds and limitations when you love your child as much as you do. And um, what also drew me to it was towards the end of the film, there's a question, um, or there's something that a police officer reveals to Caleb, which was an answer to a question that was kind of the underbelly and the heartbeat of this whole film for Caleb was him wondering if he was enough of a father. And we're so familiar with kids and peers wondering if they were enough to their parents. But I thought it was so unique for a man that's had such a haunted past and has done terrible things to deep down vulnerably wonder if he was enough or if he did his job and loved his child as much as he hoped he had. Did that resonate? And I thought that was very unique to play with in this film. You
Yeah.
know, that's Evan's wonderful writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really gonna touch a lot of people out there, a lot of parents. Yeah, so it's great. And Evan, Barron's Cove, your wonderful script centers on these deeply flawed characters, and I understand this must have been an emotional experience writing the script. But was there one character in particular, even a side player, you found most interesting or even sort of entertaining to flesh out due to their flaws or something that you sort of found particularly intriguing?
That's a
Um,
great question. Um, I think if there's any character in your script that isn't in competition to be the most intriguing in their own way, you should probably cut them. Um, every single character in the script, I was 100% invested in. I was able to see, their world through their eyes, and that excited me every day about working on this project and then bringing it to life with this incredible cast. If there's one character that was like, maybe a little bit more fun, quote unquote, fun to write. It's always fun to write the villains. Every writer will say that because you can really, kind of push yourself and do all kinds of things in your mind that you wouldn't normally do. So, writing for Lyle Chambers was really, really fun, and writing some of his, more unhinged scenes and some of his, moments where he kind of flies off the rails and, kind of puts people down. Those were fun things to write. But every single character was very important to me to get right.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally makes sense. You just have to ask. And Garrett, you've meanwhile on the small screen have been playing a singing cowboy on Tulsa King, a role that you also nail and something you've described as, sort of close to home. And I was curious, do you hope to tackle another role like that down the line, or do you, enjoy sort of branching out and foraying into these other genres, these grittier genres, crime thrillers.
I jumped on Tulsa King because I'd known Sly since I was 18,
Oh,
and I'd been crossing paths a lot with Taylor Sheridan, and the timing just wasn't working out for us, and so when they came to me with Tulsa. I just thought I'd really fucking enjoy it. Going mano a mano with Sly, and it's worked out. I wasn't so familiar with TV of the first season introducing all these characters and branching off and doing, I'm much more familiar with this style. You get in, your story's there in front of you, you know what's going to happen, you understand what your trajectory. trajectory is through this journey. And that's what you have to play with. So there's a lot of ambiguity kind of day to day on a series. But in terms of, I just like following my instinct and intuitions and doing what I see fit kind of in the moment. Especially for Barrons Cove, it was the first script that had come across my way since I was a father, and something that really made me question how far I would go and how far is too far when you feel you're right, or some of that stuff in this particular story. um, 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 uh, Caleb's, trying to find the truth and trying to find answers. And then there's that unique question of, where is the point where the truth becomes much more dangerous than a lie? Um, and so um, that was really intriguing. Um, I've been doing this for a bit. I just like to do projects that, for whatever reason, mean something to me. I like to do projects that heal people in a way, make people feel less alone in their environments, give people who had upbringings like myself the capability to be able to escape their reality once in a while and drift away in this landscape of a film and a story that hopefully captivates them.
Yeah.
So anything that lends itself to that, I'm all for.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of, I noticed this year marks the 15th anniversary of Tron Legacy. I was curious. I remember seeing that in theaters. Such a great new movie. I was curious if you stayed in touch with Jeff Bridges or anyone from that production, and if you're excited to see what comes of this upcoming sequel.
Oh,
So on.
Jeff and I, we catch up every once in a while, every so often.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of this team for bringing Aries to life. I mean, they worked so hard. They were to go before COVID, go before the strike. They overcame the obstacles to bring it to fruition. I'll be the first one in line. And if the audience gets to it and continues to love it so much, they'll get more grid.
absolutely. And Evan, I read that you dedicated Barron's Cove to your father, and of course there have been movies over the years that have centered on father-son dynamics. I was curious if there's one that has stuck out to you from over the years that maybe even you found influenced Barron's Cove a bit. One classic that maybe had a dynamic that sort of stuck with you over the years.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. The first movie that comes to mind is Road to Perdition. One of my favorite films. Um, I was really young when I saw that film. I think I snuck into the theater, and what's amazing is that I saw it in a theater in East Hampton, New York, and I still remember the cutout that they had of Tom Hanks, in the lobby, and that's ultimately where we premiered the movie, in the same exact theater that it was in, which was when you're making any project, especially a creative project, there are so many like full circle moments that just make you feel so connected to the journey and to the process. And that was one of them. So yeah, Road to Perdition has a special place in my heart, and I think it's the film. I don't want to say there isn't too much overlap or influence, but there's a thread there that I think people who look for it can find.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful movie, and so is Barron's Cove. So, congratulations again to the both of you, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Brother.
Thank you. It was great to
You
meet you.
go.
Appreciate the thoughtful questions.
Oh, yeah, of course. Have a good rest of the day.